we've got solving some fractional quadratic equations today. So let's have a look at a question. Right, here's your question. So you've got x over 3 minus 3x over x plus 1 equals 2. First thing we need to do is come up with a common denominator for these two fractions so we can simplify them. The best thing to do, or the easiest thing to do, is times this denominator by this denominator to get a common denominator. So 3 times x plus 1 is going to be 3x plus 3. So that's going to be a common denominator. To do that, you need to times this fraction top and bottom by x plus 1. You need to times this fraction top and bottom by 3. So you're just using equivalent fractions here. So if I times x by x plus 1, I'm going to write it like that with a bracket. And I'm going to do 3 times x plus 1, I'm going to write it like that. Over here, I've done 3x, I've multiplied it by 3, I've just simplified it to 9x. And on the bottom, I've done x plus 1 times 3, and I've wrote it like that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to simplify as much as we can. So on top of this fraction, you're going to end up with x squared plus x. And then on bottom of each of these fractions, you're going to have 3x plus 3. So it's going to look like that. Next thing we can do now, because we've got the same denominators, is we can sort out as numerators. So if it was add here, we could add them. Because it's take, we're going to take it away. So we've got x squared plus x take 9x. Well, we've only got to work out what x take 9x is. So you end up with minus 8x. So it's going to look like that you've got x squared minus 8x over 3x plus 3 equals 2. Right, we need to somehow get rid of this 3x plus 3 on bottom. Because it's on bottom, it just means that x squared minus 8x is being divided by 3x plus 3. So what's the opposite of dividing by 3x plus 3? We need to times by it. So if we times this left-hand side by 3x plus 3, it's going to get rid of it. And we're going to write on the right-hand side that we've got 2 times by 3x plus 3. Next step, we need to expand that bracket. So you're going to end up with 6x plus 6. And then from here, you've got a quadratic, but you need to remember the only way to solve a quadratic is if it equals to 0. So I'm going to get everything on this right-hand side, because I've got x squared over here. I'm going to get everything onto the left-hand side. So I'm going to get rid of 6x by taking it away. So I've got minus 8x take 6x is going to be minus 14x. And then to get rid of that plus 6, I've got to take 6. Because there's no numbers here, I'm just going to have minus 6. So I'm going to end up with x squared minus 14x minus 6 equals 0. Because the question, the solve giving you answers to 2 decimal places, we're going to have to use the quadratic formula. So just to remind you, that's the quadratic formula there, where a is the number in front of x squared, in this case, which is 1. B is the number in front of x, or coefficient of x, which is minus 14. And c is the number at the end, which is minus 6. What I've done then is because my b is minus 14, when I put minus 14 into there, minus 14, I've just wrote positive 14 because minus and a minus is a positive. And then when you do b squared, minus 14 squared, because when you do a minus and a minus, it's positive, is the same as 14 squared. So that's why I've wrote it like that. Then I've got minus 4 times by a, which is 1, that's there, times by c, which is minus 6. And then on the bottom, I've got 2 times by a, well, a were 1, so that's just 2. Before I put anything into my calculator, I'm just going to simplify this part under the square root first. So I know that 14 squared is 196, but you can use your calculator to help you. So I write 14 plus or minus root 196, and then I'm just going to work out what this bit here is I'm underlining. So 4 times 1 is 4, times minus 6 is minus 24. So I'm going to end up with 196 minus 24. Remember, when you've got a minus and a minus, it makes positive. So we're going to add these together. So I'm going to have 14 plus or minus root 220 over 2. And then now I'm just going to put them into my calculator separately. So I'm going to do 14 plus root 220 over 2. And that's going to get me 14.42 to 2 decimal places. And then I'm going to put the second one in, 14 minus root 220 over 2. And I'm going to get minus 0.42 as my answer. I'd like you to have a go then at 2 questions to practice. You might want to pause it here so you can have a go, and then the answers will come up in 20 seconds. Right, so here's your answers. Hopefully you've got those. We're going to have a go at a more tricky example now, slightly harder. Right, so again, we need to get a common denominator for x minus 3 and x plus 4. Best way to do that is by timesing them together. So we're going to have to times this fraction on the left-hand side by x plus 4 to the bottom. We'll have to times this fraction on the right-hand side by x minus 3 to the bottom. That's going to look like 5 times by x plus 4, and then x minus 3 times by x plus 4, and then this 9 times by x minus 3, and then x minus 3 times by x plus 4. Now then, we're going to have to start by simplifying as much as we can. So the top of this fraction is going to go to 5x plus 20. The top of this fraction on the right is going to go to 9x minus 27. And then you've got to simplify your brackets on the bottom. If I times them out, I get x squared. I'd get x times 4 is 4x. And then I get minus 3 times x is minus 3x. And minus 3 times 4 is minus 12. But I can simplify that middle part because I've got 4x take 3x, which just leaves me an x in the middle. So you've got your 5x plus 20. You end up with x squared plus x minus 12. And you've got 9x minus 27 on top of that one. Next thing we can do, because we've got the same denominators, we can add our numerators together. So if I start off by 5x plus 9x is going to give me 14x, and then I've got 20 plus minus 27, which is 20 take 27, so I'm going to end up with minus 7. I've got 14x minus 7 over x squared plus x minus 12 equals 3. Again, now, what do we do to get rid of, at the moment, this x squared plus x minus 12, 14x minus 7 is being divided by x squared plus x minus 12. So what's the opposite of dividing by it? We need to times by it to get rid of it. So to get rid of it, I'd have 14x minus 7 on the left-hand side, and then the right-hand side is going to have 3 times by x squared plus x minus 12. Next step, just expand that bracket, simplify it. So you're going to end up with 3x squared plus 3x minus 36. Looks like that. And then now you've got a quadratic again. But to solve a quadratic, we need to make it equal to 0. So what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to get everything to the right-hand side because I've got my x squared there and I've got a positive number in front of it. So I'm going to keep everything and get everything to the right-hand side. So to get rid of 14x, I'm going to have to take it. 3x take 14x is minus 11x. And then opposite of minus in 7 is I'm going to have to add 7. I've got minus 36 plus 7 is going to get me minus 29. So it's going to look like that. And then again, remember it's the 2 decimal places, so we're going to have to use the quadratic formula, which I'll put up again there. So this time, A is going to be 3, number in front of your x squared, or your coefficient x squared. B is minus 11, and C is minus 29. So because I've got B as a minus number again, when I write minus 11, I'm just going to put 11, because a minus and minus is plus. And then when I do minus 11 squared, I know that's going to be the same as 11 squared. So I'll just write it like that. And then again, I'm just going to simplify this stuff first. So I know that 11 squared is 121. So I'm going to write 11 plus or minus square root of 121 minus, and I'm just going to type in my calculator, 4 times 3 times minus 29. And that is minus 138. Minus 438. So I've got 121 minus 438. Remember, minus and minus means we're plus in it. So if I simplify this, I've got 11 plus or minus the square root of 469 over 6. It looks like that. And then I'm just going to put it into my calculator separately again. So 11 plus root 469 over 6 gets me 5.44 to 2 decimal places. And if I type 11 minus root 469 over 6, I get minus 1.78 to 2 decimal places. Right, you've got 6 questions to have a go at. You might want to pause it here, and I'll put your answers up in 20 seconds. Right, Ian, here's your answers. So hopefully you've got those. If you do have any problems, just email me. But thank you, and bye-bye.